Good morning. I hope everything's all right with you. Just got on real quick to share my devotion this morning that I had, that I spent in my time spent with God. It was a little weird this morning. I did more reading than I did praying. I guess I just, felt compelled to read, and I'm so glad that I did because, a lot of times we're conditioned to just sit there and take what we're taking and not speak up and not say anything and not, voice our concerns or our opinions in corporate America and church and family. It's amazing to me how much growth we miss out on because we don't talk to each other, because we don't tell each other how we feel about things. And, a lot of people don't like, my honesty, and that's okay. I'm really all right with it. I've learned to accept it, but I'm not going to stop being honest. That's just who I am. So, if folks don't like it, it might not be for them. I might not be, a good person for their circle or their environment. However, I was just really, really I've been in a position of, waiting, and I hate waiting. I'm one of the most impatient people you'll ever probably meet. That's just my greatest opportunity is waiting. But I was in prayer this morning. I was just like, God, it's me and you, bruv. Like, what's going on? What are we gonna talk about today? How do you want me to listen to you, God? How do you want me to handle these situations and stuff? And it was so simple. I've been doing a prayer devotional on the Bible app, and I've been finding it to be very inspirational. And today I just wanted to share with you what I read in Matthew 26:36 through 46. So in summary, what was happening was Jesus was just about to be crucified, right? So he had his woes with him. And he said, hey, can you stay up with me and watch while I pray? And he took Peter and some other dudes with him, but they all fell asleep. And that's after telling them that he said, my soul is overwhelmed with sorrow to the point of death. Stay here and keep watch with me. I was like, dang, they couldn't even stay up with him. They knew what he was going through, right? And it just kind of dawned on me like, hey, when you go through certain things in your life, when you have certain situations in your life, you're going to be the only one capable of handling that pressure and handling that responsibility, right? You're not going to have everybody with you. The folks who said that they would be with you, they will be ride or die, they're not going to be able to pretty much deal with whatever it is that you're going through. And that's okay. But what was interesting was that he asked him a second time. I've heard this sermon preached a lot. Like growing up in church, being a preacher's child, I've heard this sermon a lot. But I never realized how many times Jesus actually asked him to stay up and help him. And then I never really looked at his prayer while he was going through. So here we got the Son of God, right? Whoa, wait a minute. This guy is supposed to have all the answers, right? What I think that a lot of people miss out on is talking about the humanity of Jesus. And I know that somewhere in the Bible it says that we have a high priest who has been afflicted with our infirmities, or who understands what we go through. And I think that that's the most powerful transmission of divinity that I've ever seen, right? So we've got Moses, we've got David. They didn't have divinity. They were human only, right? But Jesus was, sorry, that was my preaching voice. It just came out. But Jesus was divine, but he was also human, right? So his humanity came out in this scripture, and in a few other times where he was throwing stuff and he was yelling, and it's just his humanity came out. It's like, enough is enough, God. What is going on? And I love that about Jesus. I love his honesty. I love honest. Listen, if you honest, honey, I'm here for it. I love honest folks. Tell me everything. Tell me what you feel. I don't care if I don't agree with it. It don't matter. You know? However, Jesus was asking his boys, Peter, dude, didn't you say he was going, like, where you at? Where you go? What you doing? Thought you was my homie, right? But he prayed a second time. And they fell asleep. And he confronted them again. Hey, y'all can't stay away from me just this little bit of time? You can't do it for me? I ain't see no answers in there, so I guess they said, whatever. I don't know, Jesus, I'm sleeping. Leave me alone. Go, you do you, okay? I'm going to do me. So then Jesus asked him a third time. And what I found the most interesting is that he said, please, Lord, don't let me have to go through this. Don't let me have to deal with this, God. I don't want to deal with this, Lord. I ain't got nobody. I ain't got nothing around me. And I know I'm about to go through hell. I know I'm about to be persecuted. I've seen it. You've shown it to me. But the fact that Jesus, the Son of God, spoke up in the midst of his disturbing moments, in the midst of his pre-fight, the pre-game show. You get what I'm saying? He just asked God, why? Why are you doing this to me? What are you doing? What's going on? Why am I so sad? Why am I crying tears of blood? Do you even love me? Why would you put me through this? I don't understand this. This doesn't make any sense. And then I don't have nobody to help me? You want me to do this by myself? Listen, if the Son of God had questions, if the Son of God was afraid, if the Son of God had anxiety to the point where he was crying tears of blood, what makes you think you're not supposed to have any questions? You can talk to God about anything you want to. Jesus cried out. I mean, of course, his answer was, God, I'll do it anyway if that's what you want me to do. But he interrupted the process and said, God, I don't feel like it. I don't want to do it. I didn't ask for this. You put this on me. I've been there a lot. I've been there quite a few times. Jesus was innocent. He didn't do anything wrong. All he was a perceived threat because he was vocal about his beliefs. Jesus was a perceived threat. He was more popular than the Pharisees. They hated that. They hated that the message was coming from him and not themselves. That's what jealousy is. Jealousy is the expectation that things should come from you as opposed to somebody else with lesser qualifications or with lesser resources than you think you have. But Jesus cried out, if it is not possible for this cup to be taken away unless I drink it, may your will be done. And a lot of people think that obedience does not include complaining. A lot of people think that, having a humbled heart before God and a sense of loyalty comes without anxiety or fear. And the most powerful thing that I heard this morning was I was listening to the devotional about anxiety as well, and the lady said that anxiety exists when the structure that you trust falls apart. So if you have anxiety thinking about money, oh, I don't have money, I don't have this, your trust is in money. If you have anxiety thinking about a relationship, your trust is in the person that's in that relationship. If you have anxiety thinking about a job, then your trust is in the job. When we're supposed to trust in the Lord with all our hearts and lean not to our own understanding, in all our ways acknowledge him. But Jesus' trust was in God. Are you mean to tell me that Jesus had anxiety because he thought that God was going to fail him. So if Jesus can have those thoughts and those doubts and still accomplish what needs to be accomplished, so can we. So can I. If I'm going through something, and this is what gave me life about the whole passage is, hey, Jesus feels the same way I feel. Oh my gosh, this is great. Like, I can relate to this guy. I can relate to. You know, putting folk in front of me that I have to love anyway, in spite of what they do to me. God, for real? Yeah, really? I gotta feed the folk that talk bad about me. God, seriously? I gotta go and hug folk that I know try to curse me. There is agony in life. Absolutely. There will be agony. There will be struggle. There will be temptation. There will be a lack of support when you need it the most. There will be an overwhelming feeling of sorrow sometimes. But our trust should be that God knows the end of a thing. That God knows the end of a thing, and that God knows the purpose for everything. And to take out our own desire and our own habit of needing to know and needing to understand why. We don't always have to understand why. Sometimes we can be upset, and it's okay for you to voice those concerns to God. It is. Absolutely. I mean, Jesus did it, so. But he had to get that stuff off his chest. He had to cry out. He had to connect and face those fears. All that stuff he had been preaching. He was telling all those people to fear not. Yet Jesus was overwhelmed with fear. So that just goes to show you that divinity and humanity can exist in the same space. But you have to choose which one will prevail. Am I going to let my humanity, my anxiety, my overwhelming feeling of fear and hopelessness, am I going to allow that to become me? Or am I going to erupt the divinity in my spirit, the God in me, the anointing, the strength, the courage, the love, the power inside of me that God has given me? For God has not given me the spirit of fear. That's divinity. But of love and of power and of a sound mind. That's divinity. So it's all up to you. It's your choice. Whatever you feed will live. What you don't feed has to die. So that's all I got for today. Hope it helped you. Helped me. Set my soul on fire. Woo! Okay, love y'all.